Okay, let's roll right into our race-winning team for today's 43rd annual Hell of a Good Sour Cream Dips 400 here at Michigan International Speedway. And for the second straight year, Denny Hamlin wins today's race. He drives a number 11 FedEx Office Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. Crew Chief Mike Ford and J.D. Gibbs will be here shortly, but this is Denny's 17th career NASCAR Sprint Cup Series win, his first win in 211. He's now inside the top 10 in points and has got that win. I know that you were really wanting to get talk about big win today for your team.
Yeah, it really was. Obviously in this position it puts us in the top 10 and hopefully works towards our goal of being in the top 5 by the time we get to Richmond. So we just started so far back in points. It's going to take a long time to get to that point, but I feel like over these last 6 to 7 weeks we've been as good as anyone, and it feels good to kind of get a win after sneaking up on everyone, at last week. And when we go to these racetracks, we won at before. Everyone expects us to win, and we expect ourselves to win, but we just had little bugs keep us from doing that, and this one we kind of just snuck in there.
9th in points right now, and we'll take questions for Denny. We'll start with Tom Jensen and then go to Mark Allman. Go ahead, raise your hand there, and they'll get you the deal.
Hi, Denny. Tom Jensen, Speed.com. With most teams, when they have controversy and chaos surrounding them, they don't run well. You guys seem to thrive whenever you're in the news for the wrong reasons. You seem to run better the next week. Why is that?
Coincidence. I mean, it doesn't make me drive any differently. Really, at that point in the race, I never even thought about any of that stuff that happened earlier this weekend. So I think it's just more coincidence more than anything, to be honest.
Go ahead, Mark.
Mark Allman, NASCAR.com. Denny, in Victory Lane, you talked a little bit about a magic adjustment. Can you talk a little bit about what you guys did to the car there in the second half of the race that picked up?
We just kept tightening the car up. We were just so loose all day long that we just couldn't do anything to tighten it up, and Mike finally got it tightened up too tight that last run and was a little closer for comfort than what I'd like with Matt there at the end, but just we finally hit it with about 70 laps to go. We started making our way back forward again. So we were 15th to 10th all day long and just couldn't get past that point until we got some clean air, a good adjustment, and then our car looked like a race-winning car. So that's usually some of the best ways to win them is when people don't expect you and haven't seen you all day.
Go ahead, sir.
Scott Novak, The Logic Daily News. Denny, you've got 2 wins in a second. What have you guys found here that's made it so dominating?
Well, it's tough to say. I mean, we were truly dominant 1 year ago in this race. We were a second to third place car here in the fall. We finished second. But today we actually were a little worse. But we got a win, and that's very uplifting for me, is to win when you don't necessarily have the best car all day, but you have the car good at the end when it really counts. So it's not really something that we figured out at this racetrack because we struggled for most of the day to get our car where we needed it. But there at the end, we just got it tightened up enough to where it started running.
Okay, we're joined up at the front now by Team President J.D. Gibbs and Crew Chief Mike Ford. And Mike, congratulations on the win today. Denny was talking about just the consistency and the determination to get the car right there towards the second half of the race. Talk about that.
Yeah, today I really thought going into the race that we had a top 3 or 4 car, and we didn't make many adjustments going into the race, and track conditions were similar, and race started and we went backwards, and it was like, we were looking at the monitor, we were 4.5 to 5 tenths off what the leaders were running, and that was disturbing. And Denny was first run was tight, so we made some adjustments. Second run was loose, and then after the third run, he really couldn't tell us what we needed to do. But we noticed that when we tightened the car up, we went faster. So we just continued to tighten the car up, and we went faster and faster. And still didn't have the fastest car at the end of the race, but through the adjustments, and watching lap time and adjusting the car, we got it respectable, and pit crew put us in position to win the race.
Team President J.D. Gibbs. J.D., congratulations on today's win. You now have two drivers inside the top 10 in points, and both of them obviously have wins. But talk about the significance of the 11 car getting a win today.
Yeah, it was real encouraging. Again, just Mike mentioned just the way the day played out. You kind of struggled to start, worked hard, and then it paid off at the end. I think for us overall, the 11 car each year that's been in existence has been a strong performing car. And so you kind of start the year off not as quickly as we'd like and not as successfully as we'd like, but to watch them kind of come together and just kind of lift each other up and be a team. That was kind of, for me, I get a lot of satisfaction watching those guys kind of rally around each other and look for a great, some momentum for the rest of the year.
Okay, we'll take questions now for all three. Go ahead, Marty.
Marty Smith, ESPN. Denny, even though the year started slowly, you never really seemed to waver in terms of your confidence and your confidence in your team. But despite that, what sense of relief is there for you to get this victory, given the dynamic of the point structure now?
Well, realistically, if the whole world collapses and ends, and you're still one win away from getting a chase spot, pretty much. So, one win's not going to put you in necessarily. It might if you're still high up in points, but we know 2 wins pretty much puts you in. So, from here on out, we know we're just 1 win away from making sure we have a chase spot. But my goal is still to get in the top 5 in points. And if I wouldn't have dug us such a big hole at the beginning of the year, we really could be, possibly fighting for trying to lead the points going into the chase. But we're just started so far behind that it's going to be tough to do that. So my realistic goal is top 5 in points and don't even have to worry about any kind of wild cards once we get to Richmond.
Let's come back downstairs. I think Dustin had a question. Go ahead.
Dustin Long, Landmark Newspapers, one for Mike, one for Denny. For Mike, how critical was it, or I guess how fortunate was it that the caution came out in the middle of that green flag pit cycle for you guys? Because I think you've been running 8th to 13th somewhere in there, and that seemed to be almost the turnaround for you. Could you have won without that situation? And Denny, obviously, I think it's been 16 races since your last win. That's not a long period, but considering you won all the races last year and won a bunch even before then, this is about as long as drought as you've had in 2 years. What's it like to end it? What was it like to go through it?
Well, I don't think about, are we going to win a race this year? I felt like that was going to happen. I felt like over these last 6 weeks, I can honestly say we've had a chance to win each and every race, one of them. For us, I think today during that yellow flag that came out in the middle of everyone's sequence, no, I don't think we were going to win if that didn't happen, but we still were marching our way towards the front at that point. But we got good fuel mileage with our car, and that allowed us to stay out. So that was one of the factors that's kind of hurt our team over these last few years is fuel mileage, and we feel like we've gotten that a little bit better. And it put us in position to stay out there a little bit longer and put us in a position to win the race. It has. For me, if I go about 8 weeks without winning, I'm wondering what the heck's going on.
Let's go to press box right now. Go ahead, and then we'll come back down. Go ahead.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. For both Denny and Mike, if you guys could both address this. In terms of this being like a team, like a character-building win for the team, you start out this weekend with the oil pan situation. I know they're categorically false, but there are all the rumors about the crew chief driver thing. To win this way at Michigan, where you guys play sound strategy, you get the lead in the pits to lead the final 8 laps, and then Denny does a good job with driving and fuel mileage. Can you just talk about maybe what that means to have the win happen that way for you guys?
I think he was asking you, right?
Yeah, it was both of us, but I'll take this one. Yeah, it's very important to get that off your back and get moved on. The rest of the world, after a year like you had last year, has higher expectations of what you should be than what's realistic. So, going into this year, I know we had a strong car. we actually ran better to start the season than what we have in a few years. So, that was very important. But as far as the team building, I think it speaks volumes to the experience and the resilience of this 11 car that you can start the week off with a down note and put that behind you and make sure that it doesn't affect what's getting ready to happen. And today's just proof of that. So we turned a negative for us into a positive, and we'll see where it goes from there. But this team usually comes out swinging when its back's against the ropes, and sometimes we connect and sometimes we get dotted in the eye.